गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा बनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा बनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टोम विष्णुपाद परमहंस श्री 108 श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताई की जय। श्री श्री राधा क्षीरचोर गोपीनाथ की जय। श्री राधा दामोदर की जय। श्री गोवर्धन लीला की जय। श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ श्री बलदेव श्रीमती सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। भक्ति विघ्न विनाशकारी नृसिंहदेव की जय। प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo Mushipadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale. Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pujarine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for joining us on this wonderful, auspicious occasion of Govardhan Leela, or Govardhan Puja, as sometimes they call. So today we are going to discuss the particular pastime of Krishna. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Of the hill called Govardhan being lifted. And there is a reason why I'm saying it this way. In the discourse today, we will have a theme which is Govardhan Leela, a love story. So I don't know how many of you have thought of Govardhan Leela as a love story, but that's what it's going to be. A parallel theme would be, is Govardhan Krishna or is Govardhan a servant of Krishna? And those two will run in parallel, so as I go through pastimes examples, we'll see that. Then there's going to be a difference in class today. Usually in these classes, at the end of the class, you ask the questions. Today is going to be different. Can you guess? Yes. I need some clarifications too, right? So that's what we're going to do. So nobody leave class today, and we'll try to ask. But all the answers of the questions I ask will be in the discourse today. So it's not going to be a surprise. It just means that you have to pay a little more attention. Everybody had a good sleep last night? Right? So nobody has an excuse to fall asleep today, this morning? Yes? No? Okay, let's get started. So we've taken a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 25, entitled Worshipping Govardhan Hill. Is it here? Text 18. I'm sorry. A Wonderful Krishna is the title. And text 18. I'm going to put it, you're going to put it here, okay. All right. 25, text 18. Oh, wait a minute. That's not higher. Oh, wait, there. I'm sorry. Something's not right. Just give me 1 second, please. Oh, this chapter 6, 25. Okay. So you got it? Okay. Tasman macharanam goshtham mannatham mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena so ayam me vrata ahitah tasman macharanam goshtham mannatham mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena soyam me vritadhatah ahitah tasmat macharanam goshtham mannatham mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena soyam me vrata ahitah. Tasmat macharanam goshtham matnatham mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena soyam me vrata ahitah tasman macharanam goshtham mannatham mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena soyam me vrata ahitah. Okay. Tasmat mancharanam goshtham mannatham mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena Tasman mancharanam goshtam mannatham mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena soyam me vrata ahitaha. Tasmat, therefore, mat sharanam, having taken shelter of me, goshtham, the cowherd community, matnatham, who have me as their master, mat parigraham, my own family, gopaye, I shall protect. Swa Atma Yogena, by my personal mystic power. Saha Ayam, this. Me, by me. Vrataha, vow. Ahitaha, has been taken. Translation. I must therefore protect the cowherd community by my transcendental potency, for I am their shelter. I am their master, and indeed they are my own family. After all, I have taken a vow to protect my devotees. Purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The word Matcharanam indicates not only that Lord Krishna was the sole shelter for the Vrij Jana, the people of Vrindavan, but also that Lord Krishna had established his home among them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes from the Anekartha Varg dictionary, Sharanam Grah Rakshistro. The word Sharanam can represent either home or protector. The residents of Vrindavan adopted Krishna as their beloved child, friend, lover, and life itself, and the Lord reciprocated their feelings. Thus, Sri Krishna lived among these fortunate people. Moving in their houses and fields, naturally he would protect such intimate devotees from all types of danger. Translation one more time. I must therefore protect the cowherd community by my transcendental potency, for I am their shelter, I am their master, and indeed they are my own family. After all, I have taken a vow to protect my devotees. Jai. So I'm sure everybody knows what's happening. And just very quickly, just to bring it in context, one day Lord Krishna woke up and was doing normal things, and he saw that everyone is running around very busy, something is happening. So 7-year-old boy, he was at that time, he went to his father, Nanda Maharaj, and said, Baba, what's going on? Baba was busy. So he didn't say anything. So he went again, Baba, what's going on? No answer. After some time, he went and tugged at his shirt. Baba, tell me what's going on. I'm family, I'm your son. Should be no secrets from the family. So please tell me. So now Nanda Maharaj couldn't resist, and he said, well, today is the day we worship Lord Indra, who is the demigod responsible for the rains. And so everybody's making preparations for the puja. Well, Krishna had a different plan in mind. He said, Baba, why Indra? So he said, well, because Indra is responsible for rain, and we are farmers by profession, so we need the rains for the proper grass. When the grass is good, then the cows feed on them, they give us good milk, and then we make butter and other milk stuff from that, we sell, and that's how we earn our living. So we are totally dependent upon Indra. Well, as I said, Krishna had another plan, so he used his power to convince, and he said, but, Baba, there's no need to worship Indra. Indra is forced to give us whatever we deserve, and what we deserve is by our karma. So therefore, if our karma is good, he doesn't have a choice. Don't worry. Now, we all know that's not exactly right, and Krishna does sometimes twist the truth. He's been known to do that many times. And he said, but it doesn't, just do not worship Indra. instead, why don't you worship Govardhan? Govardhan, as you know, is the hill there, and we'll talk about that in some detail. And it is Govardhan who's providing us the grass, the water, the fruits, also it's a plantation. Therefore, he's the one we depend upon for our livelihood, so therefore we should worship him. Now, in the beginning of the class, I said this is a love story. So now I'm going to mention the love of a father for the son. So Nanda Maharaj knows very well what Krishna is saying is not true. It's not entirely by karma. There are other factors like Krishna himself. Anyway, and he knew that Indra is an angry god. The demigods get angry very easily. Krishna is not an angry god. He's a forgiving god. Demigods are angry gods. So he knew very well Indra will be angry. And when you're angry, you use the main weapon you have, which is the weapon. What weapon does he have? He has the rains and the winds. So he will cause devastation in Vrindavan. There will be property damage, there will be people dying, animals dying, cows, etc., etc. All that will happen. But Nanda Maharaj is governed by just simple one factor. And what's that? I love Krishna. I will do whatever necessary for the pleasure of Krishna. Therefore, knowing full well there will be devastation, and Indra will be angry, he will take revenge, he said yes. And he told everyone that we are not going to worship Indra, we are going to worship Govardhan. Why? Because Krishna wants this. As soon as people of Vrindavan heard that, the mood changed. Up until now, they were all working. Somebody was cutting vegetables, somebody was bringing water, somebody was boiling milk, somebody was making sweets, on and on. Everybody was busy. But they were doing this out of duty, out of fear that Indra will be angry if I don't do this. This is like almost like a job. You don't do a good job, you don't get paid, and you go to promotion, so you do it, but not necessarily your heart is there. So people were doing this because they had to. Suddenly when they found out, no, now we are doing it for Krishna, mood changed completely. It's like a black and white movie turned into Technicolor. And now people are running around, jumping with joy, they're dancing, they're singing instead of talking, and everybody's great enthusiasm, they're doing it. Finally, it's all ready. Krishna says, now we shall worship Govardhan. Well, we don't know how to worship a hill, so Krishna says, don't worry about it. Make a mountain of all this bhoga, and let's all offer it to Govardhan. So they did that. And they did their prayers, and suddenly there was a big, huge rumbling sound. The hill was actually shaking, and suddenly a personality appeared on top of the mountain. It was a very interesting personality, but it looked like Krishna. But it didn't look like Krishna, it was so huge. And then it was as if the hill spoke, and he said, I am Govardhan. And so they said, they all offered obeisances, and they said, here's bhoga for you. And he had huge arms. With that he started picking, 100 puris this time, or 1 kilogram, or 100 kilograms of halwa this time, just eating with both hands. And then they had prepared lots of juices, different juices, put in big containers like lakes. So he picked a bamboo stick and used as a straw and started sucking in all the juices and all that. And it's all finished. And he says, Anayor. You know what Anayor means? More, more. So they brought more and put in front of him. He finished it all quickly and says, Anayor. Few times that happened, and finally they said, nothing left now, it's all done. Krishna, what do we do? So then Balaram spoke up. He says, offer a tulsi leaf. So they offered tulsi leaf, and Govardhan went, I'm satisfied. Then Krishna said, okay, now we worship Govardhan. So they performed arati and all that. And then Krishna said, now we shall circumambulate the Govardhan hill. That was the first Govardhan parikrama ever. So they all got together, and they put the senior men in the front, followed by the ladies, the senior ladies on bullock carts, followed by the boys, followed by the girls and servants and the musicians, the big, huge, hundreds of thousands of people going around. And as you know, boys will be boys, so they were playing around. Somebody was throwing a stick in the air, catching it. Somebody was making the stick somersault, catching it. And they're making up games, so they were playing around. And this was going on. Well, this was going on for a while, but Krishna said, I'm walking alone, there's no Radharani here. So I got to have that, right? So he goes and she's way behind. Suddenly Krishna shouts, where is Dhavali? You know what Dhavali is? Cow, yes, thank you. Cow, where is Dhavali? And he runs back. I'm looking for my Dhavali. And he goes near Radharani, goes, she gives him a dirty look, of course, appreciating it, but still, pretending to be angry. And then Krishna's happy. And they finish parikrama. And then this whole feast, Brahmins are fed, all the elders are fed, everybody's fed, the cows are fed, and the whole party goes on. Everybody's happy, except one person, Indra. He says, how dare this 7-year-old boy stop my puja? My puja. Does he not know who I am, this little boy? Who does he think he is? And I'm going to show the residents of Vrindavan that they should not be listening to a 7-year-old boy. So he ordered a special kind of clouds. They're known as Samvartak clouds. Those are the clouds they are called on the day of apocalypse, where the material world is going to be finished. So there's fire from the mouth of Sheshnag, and then there's air blowing, very strong winds, and then water falling. Those Samvartak clouds are the ones who cause that flooding that inundates the entire universe. You can imagine how much water is required. And they're so thick that it is said that if an airplane crossed through it, it'll break into a million pieces. So with those pillars of water coming down, the winds blowing at 200 miles an hour, you can imagine the devastation that was happening. So everybody came running to Krishna. Now, how many people said, Krishna, you shouldn't have done that. See, because of you, we're in trouble. How many people? Can you count? 0. Yeah, nobody said that. They all said, Krishna, we love you. We are in your shelter. Please help us. This particular verse we're doing is in response to their request for shelter. And it's saying, yes, I am their shelter. They're my family. They're mine. I love them. Now, this is the love of Krishna for the residents of Vrindavan, and the love of Vrindavan residents for Krishna, because they're not complaining. They're saying, whatever you did is happy. We are happy. Just do it. Krishna said, don't worry, just follow me. He starts walking towards Govardhan Hill. Suddenly, by the potency of Yoga Maya, there's a covering. Like, imagine million umbrellas. So nobody's getting wet anymore, all still raining, same way. Nobody's feeling the wind, or still blowing the wind, same way. They're all walking very casually, very nicely, they're all in good mood suddenly. And he goes to the hill. It's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. He lifts the Govardhan Hill like a child picks up a mushroom with the left hand, lifts it on the pinky finger of his left hand, and invites everybody to come in. Now, how many people were afraid that this child will drop the hill and on top of her head if I go inside? Of course, the answer again is 0. They all walk down. And what they noticed is gold stairs leading down to a wonderful floor, again made of all sorts of gems. Chintamani Prakasadno, same kind of thing happening. The base of the hill is of gold. And there are paintings and carvings on the walls. So they all collect cows, the calves, people, everybody. I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to talk about who did he lift. Well, obviously Govardhan Hill. But who's Govardhan Hill? And what's the love story there? So I'm going to take a tangent and talk about who's Govardhan Hill, how does it appear, and how does it make a love story. So let's talk about how did Govardhan Hill appear in the first place. So where did it appear first place? Govardhan, Golok Vrindavan or material world? Golok Vrindavan. So how did that happen? Well, we all know that one day Krishna was sitting on the swing all by himself, there was nobody there, and he said, I need company. And suddenly from the left side of his body appeared Radharani. And of course, then some time went out, they were enjoying each other's company, and Radharani asked one day, Krishna, Krishna, please tell me how much you love the Gopas, the cowherd boyfriends. He said, this much. But Krishna sounds big, so this is big. He said, oh, okay, how much do you love the gopis? He said, this much. And then she said, okay, how much do you love me? Krishna's hands are not long enough. So he manifested from his heart a hill. A hill that was 8 million miles wide, 800 miles tall. That is Govardhan Hill in Golok Vrindavan. It's appearing from his heart, which means what? It's the love of Krishna for Radharani. That's how much he said, I love you. After some time, Radharani said, there's nothing to do on this hill. We need some things. So suddenly the lakes manifested, the flower beds, trees, plants, caves. And these are not ordinary caves. These caves are well decorated. You know, Chintamani Prakasad again happening. And there are paintings and the carvings, all sorts of things. They're interconnected, and people, the Sakhis will go and play music there, they will sing beautiful songs. All that is happening there. So this is where Radharani and Krishna will have their pastimes. And this is Golok Vrindavan. Now, when Krishna decided he's going to come to the material world, he went to Radharani and said, hey, Radhe, I'm going to the material world. And she says, good for you, go. He says, no, I can't go alone. You have to come with me. He said, well, I'm not coming. Why do I want to go to the material world? He said, no, please. She said, okay, 3 conditions. What are the 3 conditions? 1, Govardhan Hill must be there. 2nd, Vrindavan. So before I say the second part, let me tell you also. One day they were having a Ras Leela in Golok Vrindavan. It was hot that day. And Krishna's will, whatever he wants, the season happens. They were all sweating profusely. So the sweat, the combined sweat of Radha, Krishna, all the gopis and the gopas, collected in a pool. And Radharani said, I want that pool to flow to the material world. And it will be called Yamuna. So he says, I want Yamuna to be there. So, 3rd, I want Govardhan to be there. So now Govardhan has to manifest in the material world also. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth because there's so many intertwined stories, so I hope I will not confuse you. Another pastime that shows how Govardhan Hill manifested in Golok Vrindavan is slightly different from the one I just told you. And that is, one day, Radha and Krishna said, we want to perform certain austerities, and we do it for 1,000 years. Nobody understood why, but they performed austerities for 1,000 years. At the end of it, gopis came and said, so what did you get from that? And they said, well, we got 21 energies. And the 21 energies, they manifested a divine light. That divine light manifested Vrindavan Dham. 10 of those 21 energies manifested the 10 forests. The next 10 manifested the 10 villages in Vrindavan. So that's 10 plus 10 is 20. 21st is the combined energy of the love in the heart of Krishna for Radha and love in the heart of Radha for Krishna. That combined energy, the combined love is manifestation of Govardhan Hill. So once again, Govardhan Hill is a manifestation of the love for Krishna in Radharani's heart and love for Radharani in Krishna's heart. Now, let me ask you a question. What is in the heart of Radharani, or who is in the heart of Radharani? Krishna. So therefore, whatever manifests from the heart of Radharani is Krishna. What's in the heart of Krishna? Radharani and the devotees. So therefore, whatever manifests from the heart of Krishna is devotee of Krishna. So therefore, is Govardhan Krishna or devotee of Krishna? Remember, that was one of the questions I'm going to ask you. So, is Govardhan Krishna or devotee of Krishna? Anyway, so that's the story I forgot to tell you. So therefore, that Govardhan then manifests in material world in the form of the son of a mountain by the name of Dronagiri. And his name is given Govardhan. Somehow, by arrangement of Krishna, his name is given. Then there is a sage called Pulastya, who normally resides in Kashi. That's Banaras, for those of you who don't know. And Kashi, there's no mountains. And the sages, they like mountains, they like forests, because that gives them the isolation they need, the privacy they need to perform their austerities, the meditation and all that. So Pulastya Muni was traveling, where can I find a mountain? He went to this place where Dronagiri was living, and he said, you're the king of the mountains, I live in Kashi, there's no mountains there, so I need a mountain to take to Kashi. And the king in Dronagiri said, my dear sir, take any mountain you want. I'll give it to you. And Pulastya Muni saw all the mountains and he saw this beautiful Govardhan hill. He said, that's the one I want. Now Govardhan is the hill, is the son of Dronagiri. So it's easy to say, take whatever you want, but not my son. So suddenly now Dronagiri is worried. He says, oh, sir, take another one. This is not a good one. No, this is the one I want. Now he can't say no, right? So he thought he'll play a trick and he said, my son will not want to leave me, right? So he says to Pulastya Muni, okay, ask him if he wants to go, it's okay. Thinking, being fully convinced, my son will not leave me. So Pulastya Muni asked Govardhan Hill, will you come with me? Now he's also in a little bit of a quandary. So he thought he'll play his trick. And he says, I will come with you on one condition. As you are carrying me, if you put me down to any place, from then I will not move. So you take me all the way to Kashi, or wherever you stop for whatever reason, I will not go. Are you okay with that condition? And Pulastya Muni was very sure of his prowess. He said, Kashi is not that far, I can do that in my sleep. He says, yes, I agree. So they start. And well, Krishna's arrangement, Radharani's, demand, and Krishna's promise to her, as they are above Vrindavan area, Pulastya Muni has to go nature's call. So he can't control himself. He says, okay, puts him down, forgets his promise, puts him down, does his thing, takes his bath, Achaman and everything else, comes back. He won't move. Pulastya Muni is getting angry. What do you mean? What's going on? And Govardhan says, well, we had this agreement, Remember you signed that contract? If you put me down, I'm not going up. Pulastya Muni said, that was not for this particular, this is an emergency, this was an exception. But there was no exception in the contract, sorry. Pulastya Muni got very angry and he cursed him. What's the curse? Your size will reduce by the size of one mustard seed every day. And he left. We've all heard that story, right? Well, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, I'm sure you all know one very famous acharya in our movement, he said, I don't believe that story. Huh? He said, I don't believe it. Then what is the story? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, please tell us, we are all your students. He says, the story is that when Krishna and Radha left Vrindavan, they completed their pastimes, so their pastimes became unmanifest. Govardhan Hill was feeling so much separation that all this time he was standing tall, and we'll talk about how tall he was, standing tall, but he could not take the separation. He became weak on his knees, and he sat down, he sank under the ground. Now only his eyes, Radha Kund and Shyam Kund, his neck, Dan Ghati, and his tail, Puchri, is visible. The rest is all underground. So there's no shrinking. And when you think about this, I'm an engineer, so I'm kind of analytical. So I said, okay, 5,000 years ago Krishna appeared. 5,000 times 365. How many is that? 1.865 million. So 1.865 million mustard seeds are probably fit in this room. So that's not a lot of reduction. So let me tell you what the reduction was. When they were here, they were performing all sorts of pastimes at Govardhan Hill. And if anybody has read Nectar of Instruction, text 9 of that book, Nectar of Instruction, says that Dwarka is superior to to Vaikuntha. Mathura is superior to Dwarka. Vrindavan is superior to Mathura. But Govardhan is superior to Vrindavan. Why? Because the quality of the pastimes that happened there are better progressively. So, the quality of pastimes basically determined by the amount of madhurya ras. Because that's the highest mellow, right? Conjugal mellow. So therefore, in Vaikuntha, of course, Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi is there, but it's still a very formal relationship. I'm the servant, you're the boss. What is she doing all the time? What is she doing? Anybody know? Massaging his lotus feet. That's it, right? You never see them embracing, you never see any confidential conversation going on. Very formal. Madhurya ras, but like 0.1%. In Dwarka, there's a little bit more, but still everybody knows he's God. In Mathura, it's a mixture. So there's more Madhurya, but not full. In Vrindavan, you have full Madhurya. But still, the most confidential pastimes happen in Govardhan Hill. And then, of course, even more confidential happen in Radhakund, Shyamkund, but that's eyes and ears of Govardhan, so that's still Govardhan. So therefore, the quality of pastimes in Govardhan Hill of Radha and Krishna are the best, topmost. And he is the witness to all these pastimes. Now, can you imagine any of us observing a pastime between Radha and Krishna? How much ecstasy you would feel, right? Everyone can imagine? So imagine the ecstasy Govardhan used to feel because he's watching every day this pastime, wonderful pastimes. Remember, there were a lot of restrictions on Radha and Krishna. When she was home, there were it was like forest to her home, with the two fierce animals living in her home, in Yavat. Jatila and Kutila, yes. They were the two. Their whole life was dedicated to one thing, keeping them separate. But when she came to the forest of Vrindavan, there was Shyam Sundar Krishna there, that was home to her. So her home was forest was the home for her. And it was even there in Vrindavan, Yashoda Maya was there, Lord Balaram was there, other elders were there, so they were still restricted. And in those days, it's not like today, even to look at each other was considered like, ooh, so they will be very restricted in doing that. But when they were in Govardhan Hill, in the caves of Govardhan Hill, real pastimes will happen. And the Sakhis will be there doing wonderful music and all that. Vrinda Devi will arrange the rendezvous and everything was arranged very perfectly. The right atmosphere, the right environment, the right flowers, the right music, all be done. So Govardhan observed all those. So you can imagine the ecstasy he was feeling. In his ecstasy, he will grow. He was constantly growing. By the way, his ecstasy was also manifesting as the trees and the grass and all those kind of things. And the lakes, the tears coming out. Anyway, he was growing. He was growing and growing and growing every day. At one time, he had 100 peaks. And Bhagavatam describes that he was taller than the clouds. That's how tall he was. But when Krishna... So imagine 1.865 million mustard seeds, nothing. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, no, he actually sat down in separation. So what we're seeing is, it's like an iceberg, more than iceberg, 99% down, 1% visible to us. That's the ecstasy of Govardhan Hill. Anyway, so let me stay on topic of Govardhan Hill because I just thought of something else. There's another story, totally unrelated to how Govardhan Hill, totally unrelated to what we just talked about, to how Govardhan Hill appeared. So there was a Brahmin There was a Brahmin. His name was, oh, I forgot. Anyway, a Vipra. Sorry, yeah, Govardhan. How can I forget? Govardhan Vipra was his name. Vipra means Brahmin. Govardhan was his name. So he would constantly cry for Krishna. And he would not eat for days, he would not drink for days, constantly crying. So one day Krishna finally appeared and he says, this is impressive. What benediction can I give you? And he asked for a very strange benediction. He says, put your lotus feet on my back. Krishna, huh? You want to be my carrier like Garuda? He says, no. Just put you put on the back of Hanuman. No, sorry, Krishna said, like Hanuman? He says, no. He said, then what? He said, no, just don't worry, just put your lotus feet on my back. Krishna did, that's okay, fine. He put his lotus feet on the back of this Govardhan Vipra. When he felt the touch of the lotus feet of Krishna, he went to complete ecstasy. And one of the symptoms of ecstasy is stunned. Stambhit in Sanskrit. Everybody knows a stump? Stump is like pillar. So like a rock, he became stunned like a rock. That rock, Govardhan Hill. So that's another story about how the Govardhan Hill appeared. Anyway, let me also go back to another pastime that I want to discuss that happened at Govardhan Hill. So what happened was, Radha and Krishna were at Govardhan Hill, and one of the parrots, Radharani had this parrot, Shuka and all that, he came flying and said, Chandravali is coming. Who's Chandravali? Anybody knows? The rival gopi. Actually a cousin, but a rival gopi of Radharani. So Krishna said, let's hide. I don't want to be caught with you. There'll be, how things are. There'll be problems. So they said, where to hide? So all these caves opened up. So they entered one of the caves and suddenly it was very dark. But all the caves are interconnected, so they're going from cave to cave, very dark. And then Krishna said, wait a minute, it's too dark, I want to see. So as soon as he expressed his desire for light, what's the gem that he has on his chest? Kaustubhamani. Suddenly became extremely effulgent, more effulgent than the sun, and everything was visible. What did Krishna and Radha see? All the walls of these caves had paintings. And what were on the paintings? The pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So now they're watching their own pastimes in these carvings and paintings and enjoying that. So actually there was no Chandravali coming. There was an arrangement by the Sakhis to have them enjoy that. So after that they sat down, and another symptoms of the ecstasy of Govardhan Hill is that the trees produce what's called, the juice that comes out, there's a word for it. Anyway, honey comes out. And so they collect the honey and then they drink. Honey is supposed to be very intoxicating. Lord Balaram, Varuni, that's just really honey. Anyway, so they collected this in gold glasses and they gave one glass each to Radha and Krishna. Said, drink it. So now Krishna is looking at Radharani and says, no, you drink first. He says, no, you drink first. And they're going back and no, you first. So Krishna said, I want to taste your Mahaprasad. So you drink first, then I'll drink. So she says, okay. So she drinks one glass. She gives the next glass. Krishna says, no, you take another one. So she drinks another one. 3, 4, 5 glasses. Now you can imagine, she's drunk. She's actually drunk. And if you've ever met a drunk person, one characteristic of a drunk person is they talk too much. Anybody notice that? You guys are so innocent, you probably don't know, but I know. Drunk people talk like nonsense, They really talk. So now Radharani is talking. So typically, Radharani is very shy. Even when she wants to express her love for Krishna, she does it in a very indirect way. So for example, Jao Krishna, main tumse baat nahi karti. Which means, Krishna, I'm not going to talk to you. Which means, I really want to talk to you. Right? Or she will say, you're so bad, I never want to see you again. Krishna, don't get away from the vision of my eyes. That's how she talks. But now she's talking directly. She says, Krishna, I really like you. And he says, huh? Yeah, I really like you. She says, another drink, Drink a little more. Anyway, so they have this pastime. And finally she says, okay, Krishna, your turn. So he says, okay. He takes the glass, then this is a gold glass, right? Now he sees the reflection of Radharani's face on the glass. What's the color of Radharani's face? Gold. This color of the glass is gold. So he's seeing golden reflection on gold this thing. Now Krishna is confused. What is more enchanting to me? Her face in front of me or the reflection of her face? He's all confused, he can't drink anymore. Radharani said, no, you have to. Anyway, so he drinks. They have these kinds of pastimes in Govardhan Hill. So once again, my point is, Govardhan is providing all these facilities for the wonderful pastimes between Radha and Krishna. Therefore, he is the servant. As a matter of fact, in Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 21, canto 10, chapter 21, text 18, the word used by Shukadeva Goswami is Hari Das Varya, which means the best among the devotees of Krishna. So he's the best among, because all the services he's providing for Krishna. And of course Radharani. So how much time do I have? He says 1 minute. Prabhupada said 1 minute. You know what he said? Remember that? What? 1 minute for what? To go back home to Godhead. It takes 1 minute. So that's the 1 minute. Let's go back home to Godhead. By remembering this pastime from the bottom of heart, relishing it from the perspective of the love that Govardhan had for Radha and Krishna, Radha Krishna had for each other, Nanda Maharaj had for Krishna, Krishna had for him, Krishna had for the devotees of residents of Vrindavan. And I'll finish with going back to that pastime. Krishna is now lifting the hill. Everybody's inside. They form concentric circles around Krishna. And whether they're standing in front or back, or they're standing, 10th row or 1000th row, everybody's looking at Krishna with great love in their eyes. Krishna is reciprocating their love through his eyes. Everybody's feeling Krishna is only looking at them. And Krishna is standing there, everybody's doing their thing. So what's their thing? The Brahmanas are offering their prayers, their blessings for the safety of Krishna. Elders are praying for the safety of Krishna. The gopis are just so much love in their eyes that they're attracting Krishna in through their eyes, into their hearts. Jagannath Swami, Nayanapatagami Bhavatu. So not Jagannath Swami, but same thing, but Krishna, Nayanapatagami. And Krishna is entering their heart, and Krishna is making them enter his heart through their eyes, and they're mutually embracing. This is called virtual embrace. But in the case of the gopis and Krishna, it's a real thing. So they're doing that. Mother Yashoda is watching all this. She's watching her 7-year-old son standing there with the huge hill on his little finger of the left hand. She's all concerned. My son is a little boy, he's weak. His hands are soft like butter. It is mentioned that Krishna's hands were so soft that if a leaf fell from a tree through the air, landed on his hand, there'll be imprint of the leaf on his arm. That's how soft Krishna was. So she's saying that soft Krishna is holding this big, hard hill, rocks on his hand. He'll get hurt. So now she's praying to Govardhan. My dear Govardhan, please be compassionate upon my son and become soft like butter. My dear hill, please start floating in the air so my son does not feel the weight of your body. She's praying like that. In the meantime, his friend Madhu Mangal, everybody knows Madhu Mangal, the comedian, is sitting there, and he starts saying to Mother Yashoda, Maya means mother, Maya, why do you worry so much? Krishna is not lifting the hill. It's the power of my austerities, of Brahminical austerities, the Brahma Tej, that's lifting it automatically. There's no weight on Krishna. Mother Yashoda does not appreciate that. She's in anxiety, and this guy is making jokes. So she's telling him, Madhu Mangal, to you everything is a joke. So stop talking, go in the corner, eat your laddus. Stop bothering me. She shoos him away. Well, Krishna is doing his thing, still everybody's doing their thing, and now a dance party starts. The gopis are standing with Radharani. Radharani has only one job. What's that? To admire Krishna, to lovingly gaze at Krishna. It's not staring, it's a loving gaze. Well, Krishna is reciprocating. And one of the Sakhis says to Radharani, Radhe, do not move your eyebrows. Because Krishna is looking intently at you. If he sees you move your eyebrows, he'll go weak on the knees. His body will become weak, he'll drop the hill. So please. Well, in the meantime, Krishna is gazing at her and he watches the eyebrows move. So he does go weak and then his hands. In the meantime, he also notices that Balaram is watching everything. See, because he's more embarrassed, more shaking. All the boys say, Krishna, don't worry, we got it. They put this stick up. We got it, don't worry, we got it. So they're holding the hill with their sticks. They're thinking they are the ones raising the hill. Remember, that was one of the questions. So they think. Then, Mother Yashoda is watching this. Now she gets angry. And she thinks it's because, she doesn't know about Radha and Krishna, right? She thinks Govardhan Hill did not listen to her prayer. So now she gets angry at Govardhan Hill. She says, Govardhan Hill, I told you to become soft. I told you to become light. I told you to float in the air, and you're not doing that. Look at my Krishna, his hands are trembling. I'm going to curse you to burn into ashes. Either you fly up right now, or I'm going to burn you to ashes. Govardhan got scared, he moved up. He actually moved up, So Krishna's saying, no, don't do that because the optics are bad then. You have to be touching my finger. So he comes down, soft landing on the pinky finger of the left hand of Krishna. Anyway, so that's going on. Now, one activity Krishna loves to do, he cannot wait too long without doing that activity. What is that? Flute, yes. So he takes his flute out. He's about to play. Madhumangal jumps up wherever he's sitting. He holds his hand and says, Krishna, do not play your flute. Why? What happened? He says, I have seen the effect of you playing your flute. He says, what is that? He says, when you play a flute, the sound vibrations go in the air. I've seen water become stationary. It becomes columns of water. I've seen stones melt. They become like rivers. Govardhan is a stone. If you play your flute, it melts. We'll all drown. So please do not play flute. And I've seen people dance in ecstasy. If the hill starts dancing in ecstasy, you will not be able to balance it. It'll crash upon us, we'll die. So please do not play flute. The boys say, don't worry, Madhumangal, we got it. The sticks is up. Let him play his flute. So Krishna says, okay, thank you. He starts his flute. Anyway, so this goes on for 7 days and 7 nights. Mother Yashoda loves to offer Krishna food at least 8 times a day. Now, 8 times a day, 7 days a week. He's listening, how much is 8 times 7? Who knows math? 56. So when they finished this pastime, Mother Yashoda said, I'm going to make up for all the times I missed feeding you. So she made 56 types of bhoga. But chappan vyanjan. That's how the number 56 comes in. So they do all that. Anyway, I know my time's really up. So I'm going to, there's so much more to talk about, but I'm going to stop. They had that really wonderful 7 days and 7 nights. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Madhumangal pointed out to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda, please understand how much fun everybody's having. And she says, what do you mean? And Madhumangal explained. He said, I shouldn't be telling you this, but let me tell you. Krishna plays with the gopas at daytime. But they wish they were with him at night time. Krishna spends some time with you, but after you put him to bed at night, he jumps out the window and spends time with the gopis. So all night he's with the gopis. But they wish they were with Krishna at daytime. So everybody's part-time with Krishna. Everybody has been praying to be full-time with Krishna. This is their opportunity to be full-time with Krishna 7 days and 7 nights, no disturbances. And the gopis and Radharani especially have all these restrictions of social conventions, social customs. Here all the social customs are gone, social conventions gone. They can all look at each other, admire each other with all the loving gaze. So that's what's going on, Maya. This is, so don't worry, just enjoy. Anyway, so I'm going to stop, and I did promise to ask you questions, so I will do that. And so the first question was, is Govardhan Krishna or devotee of Krishna? Devotee of Krishna. Okay, devotee of Krishna both. Anybody else? Say again? Okay, so he's both, he wants to be considered as a devotee. Okay, great. All right. How is this a love story? Who's loving whom? Krishna and? So Nandamari Krishna and what else? Radharani loving Krishna, okay. Krishna loving Radharani and? Mr. Govardhan, okay, that's again loving pastime, yes. What else? Mother Yashoda, caring so much. Exactly, residents of Vrindavan, so much trust. Nobody's worried. Nobody's worried about going down. Nobody's worried about being destroyed, devastated. My Krishna is here. So much faith, so much love. And Krishna saying, yeah, for you, I'll move mountains. Not just move mountains, I'll lift mountains, don't you worry. Come in. And so when at the end of 7 days, when they finished pastime, Krishna said, okay, sun is out, rains have stopped, winds have stopped, come out. Nobody wanted to come out. They were having so much wonderful time, right? Finally said, please. So okay, so slowly everybody came out. The cows were the last ones. They came out and they ran back in. Don't want to leave with Krishna. Krishna saying, it's okay, you can leave now. Said, no. So finally he says, please, with his eyes he says, please. And they leave. Then he comes out, puts it down gently, like a mushroom being put back. And that's the one half of the pastime. I know I don't have time for that. The Indra side of it. So one day maybe we'll talk about that. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Thank you. If you would allow, we can allow questions. Yes. Oh, sorry. Do you have questions? Okay, no. Sorry. Yes, Prabhu. The question he's asking is, Radharani is Krishna's eternal consort. He is Yoga Maya potency. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why do they need to perform austerities? 2 reasons. One is, austerity is to be performed by all non-animals. So Krishna is setting that, they are setting a point. Second is, their austerity is not for wanting something for them. This is their way of saying, let's do something together and let's produce something that will be for the common benefit. So that's why the 21 energies come out, the divine light comes out. It's not for the reasons that you and I would perform austerities. Totally different. It's something to do together. Let's do it together. Okay. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's basically how I understood.
Also, Prabhu, just one more question. So while you were mentioning like 2 eyes of Govardhan, you mentioned tail too, I think, if I'm not wrong. Tail.
Tail, yes.
And you mentioned it's like Krishna.
Puchri. So you heard of Puchri wala lota baba. Yeah? So that's the tail end of, yeah. So there was a, I think it's Sridham, if I'm not mistaken. He was told by Krishna, I'll return. He's like, fine, I'll wait. So still waiting. Low time is to return. Still waiting for it. So he's now on Puchri wala boat. So that's the tail of the Govardhan hill.
So you mentioned it's like Krishna. So why does it have tail though? You mentioned like Govardhan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I understand. So if you look at Govardhan hill, it looks like a peacock. So the back end is called tail. It's not because he has a tail. where it's called a tail, because of the shape that he has. Okay, and similarly the eyes are the other Kundas. One of the water is the tears. It's just metaphorical. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So Prabhu, you mentioned that in separation, Govardhan Hill, sat down. But then we also hear that when Lord Chaitanya returned to Vrindavan, did he perform pastimes in Govardhan Hill, and how did that, like Lord Chaitanya's pastimes on this planet, how did that affect, or what was the relationship between him and the Govardhan Hill at that time?
So the way I understand is, Lord Chaitanya considered Govardhan to be Krishna. And therefore he said, you will not step on the Govardhan Hill. So he never did that. So I don't know if that's what you meant, or...
Yeah, and in a sense, he didn't step, but because Govardhan saw his Lord return, when that happened, also was there any reciprocation between the two?
If there was, I can't recall. I know that Lord Chaitanya will act like he will see the Nilgiri mountains. And he said, that's Govardhan, he'll run towards that. He'll see the ocean, he said, that's Yamuna, he'll run towards that. That I know. But I don't know if there's anything from the side of the hill itself. I'm sorry, maybe there is, but I'm not sure. Are you aware of anything? Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Give him the mic, please, somebody.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for such a beautiful lecture.
Thank you.
My question is, today on the occasion of Govardhan Puja, what should be our mood? What should be our mood?
Yes.
What should we reflect on? What should we think about? And if there is any specific prayer for Govardhan that we could say on this day, or mantra.
Yeah. So as I said in my class, this is a love story. Let's become part of the love story. Let us try to develop that loving mood, that loving feeling in our heart for Radha and Krishna. That with that love, with those feelings in our heart, we worship Radha and Krishna. That we want to worship them, getting rid of any false ego as much as possible, not carrying any feelings of enmity or any negative feelings against any of the devotees. At least for today, let's give up all those negative thoughts and negative feelings, and in that mood, serve Radha and Krishna and beg them for their protection, for his protection, just the way he saved the residents of Vrindavan from the external dangers and allowed them to wonderfully spend time in total ecstasy with him 7 days, 7 nights. Please, my dear Lord Krishna, allow me to develop that feeling so I can feel that ecstasy of watching you and Radharani, watching you perform. And let me meditate upon all these pastimes that you have performed today, so that it strengthens my resolve to worship you with those feelings. If we can do that and that chant in that mood, I think it will be wonderful. Sure. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I wasn't planning to anyway. Sorry, but now